So I actually wasn't going to record today. I had a whole other video ready and it was getting edited and I was working on another video, scripting it up. And like I always do, I had the game run in the background. And Mikal Bridges, well, he dropped a career high tonight of 45 points.
Story here tonight.
He's the high man, 17 points. Bridges got a three. It's Butler. Bridges, shake, fake. Bridges, leads to Cam Johnson and Bridges is open. Bridges, bottom.
Now, Mikal's one of the guys that kind of got looked over in the whole trade deadline situation. I mean, when a guy like Kevin Durant of his caliber comes to a team like the Phoenix Suns, that's going to get all the headlines, and rightfully so. Kyrie Irving going to join Luka Doncic was getting all the headlines, and rightfully so. And the Lakers, my Lakers, will always get headlines, and we revamped our whole team. We changed everything about it. So Mikal Bridges going to Brooklyn was really glossed over. No one really talked about it. And honestly, this might be the steal of the whole deadline. When I saw this happen originally, I didn't really think much of it. And then I started thinking, I said, hold on. You're getting Mikal Bridges, who's a guy who's been really good for Phoenix Suns. And you ask any Phoenix Suns fan, they absolutely love Mikal. They love what he did here. They love the culture that he came with, and he loved Phoenix. You put him on a team like Brooklyn, where now he has a chance to be the #1 scorer. Like, he's their top scorer. He's a top guy they go through. And there's no pressure. He has absolutely no pressure. All he has to do there is just cool. Doesn't have to lose games. They're not trying to tank because they don't have their own draft pick. They're not trying to make a finals run. Nope, they're just trying to maintain and be good and, put some people in the seats. And when you have a chance like that, you can have a breakout year. And I think Mikal Bridges is finna have that breakout year. Let's just kind of look at who Mikal Bridges is first of all. He's 26 years old. He's a small forward, and he came from Villanova, so he's had championship pedigree. He used to play with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, who also are both in New York. They have a nice little trio going over there, and, they can go out to dinner and shit. Good for them. Now, Mikal last year started to put himself on the map. He was top 3 finished in Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of people thought he deserved to be Defensive Player of the Year. Honestly, I liked him over someone like Marcus Smart because for the Phoenix Suns, he was the guy they had guarding all the tough players. At 6'6", you can use him to guard a wing, guard a guard. He can even go out and guard some bigs. And they use him on against elite guys. They put him on Kevin Durant, LeBron. They put him on Paul George. They put him on Luka. They put him on any guy they needed to shut down. They put Mikal Bridges on. And he was absolutely phenomenal last year defensively wise. So he was a top 3 defensive player of the year last year. And he goes into a team like Brooklyn, who already has a lot of great wing defenders. I mean, oh my gosh. I'm talking Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, Cam Johnson himself can defend. You have so many great defenders on that team already and a lot of great wings. And that team's going to be locking up a lot of wings, and it's going to be exciting. But back to Mikal. Mikal was, like I said, a top 3 finish in Defensive Player of the Year last year. A lot of people argue he should have been the Defensive Player of the Year last year. And honestly, that was kind of the year that he started putting himself on the map more. Now, other than that, most people kind of looked at him as a 3-and-D guy. He was a guy that, once again, was great in the defensive end and was knocking down any shot you needed for the Phoenix Suns in the 3-point area. I mean, he's honestly the prototypical wing, the wing that everyone would want in the NBA now. He can shoot, he can defend, he can play make a little bit, and he can rebound. He's literally the wing that every NBA team wants. To add on to him being an elite modern day wing, he also really doesn't have a weakness in his game. If you look at Mikal's game, he can score at all 3 levels. He actually has a pretty good mid-range jump shot. Like I said, he's a sniper from the 3-point range, and he's athletic enough to finish around the rim. In Phoenix, Mikal was more of a 3rd or 4th option after Devin, or if DeAndre was on or Chris was on, they kind of would use Mikal whenever they needed, and he wasn't always the primary focus on the offense, and he often got looked over. But this year, the Phoenix Suns dealt with a lot of injuries. Devin Booker was hurt the majority of the season, and Chris Paul has been in and out the lineup. DeAndre Ayton has been pretty consistent, but a guy like Mikal Bridges, who, not to mention, has not missed a game since high school, we'll go back to that. When Devin Booker went out, he was averaging around 20 points a game, and he was the main focal point of the Suns' offense. Usually the plays that were usually ran for Devin Booker, they would run it for Mikal, because Mikal, much like Booker, is a very good shooter and very good off the screen and roll. I mean, we had games where he was scoring 29 points and give you 6 assists and a block and a steal, and other games where he might give you 24 points or 28 points and give you 7 rebounds. He was a very versatile, and I think really showcased how good of a scorer he really could be in Phoenix before he did the trade with Brooklyn. Now, remember, when Phoenix did this trade, they didn't want to package Mikal Bridges. Like, that was a guy that they really wanted to hang on to. Another reason why this trade didn't happen in the offseason, Mikal Bridges was not a guy that Phoenix ever wanted to get rid of, and for good reason. I totally understand why they want to keep him. This is a guy that, for when he got traded, I wanted the Lakers to go all in and go get him. I mean, some of the trade packages that Brooklyn got for Mikal at the trade deadline are kind of insane. They were offered 4 first-round picks from the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, imagine a guy like Mikal Bridges going to play with John Morant. Now, sometimes when you see a trade like this happen where a guy who was very talented on a really good team but wasn't the main option or wasn't even the secondary option, they usually go to the new team and we see them shine. We see them really have a breakout year. For instance, we have Julius Randle, when he was on the Lakers, wasn't really the guy yet. He went to the Pelicans and there was a lot of stuff happening there. You had Zion coming in, you had Brandon Ingram. He wasn't really the main focal point. But when he went to New York, it was his team. They embraced him. He was the number 1 option, and we saw him win Most Improved Player. We saw him being in the MVP conversation and get to his first All-Star game and lead the New York Knicks to the NBA playoffs. He had an amazing year. He became a star in a matter of 1 year because of one trade. Another great example of this would be Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine in Minnesota was kind of overshadowed by Karl-Anthony Towns, and most people looked at him as a dunker. They knew how great of a dunker he was, but no one looked at Zach LaVine as a great scorer. Now, if you talk about Zach LaVine, yeah, he's a great dunker, but he's the lead scorer on the Chicago Bulls. He was the number 1 option. They give him the ball a lot, and before DeMar DeRozan got there, he was the guy in Chicago. We know they have issues now, but whatever. And him, much like Julius Randle, his first year in Chicago, made his first All-Star game. Our other great example of this is Jarrett Allen. And Jarrett Allen, when he was in Brooklyn, well, because of KD and Kyrie and all the hoopla they had there, they demanded that they wanted DeAndre Jordan to start in front of Jarrett Allen, and Jarrett Allen was pushed to the bench. And as soon as he got over to Cleveland, or a place where he could be the main center, he flourished and made his first All-Star team last year. And I think this is the same case that we're going to see for someone like Mikal Bridges. Mikal is now in a spot where he is the number 1 option in Brooklyn. Brooklyn will run their offense around him, and we're going to see him have these scoring outbreaks like he did the other night. I mean, literally, he had 45 points. And on top of that, it was a very efficient 45 points. He only missed 7 shots the whole game. He was 17 of 24, 70% shooting. He missed 2 3-pointers, was 7% from the free throw line, and added in 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks with 2 steals. He was dominant on the win for the Brooklyn Nets over the Miami Heat. I really think Mikal Bridges is in a situation where he could be the next Julius Randle, where he could make his first All-Star game next year and become the most improved player. Honestly, when he got traded there, I was telling some of the Suns fans, I was like, you guys might have been right. I think this guy right here might have a breakout year. And anyone that's watched the Phoenix Suns already knew who he was and how well he was playing before Devin Booker came back from injury. And that's another reason why they were so upset to get rid of Mikal. And that's another reason why Brooklyn would not let this trade happen without Mikal Bridges. And a lot of people said, well, they got fleeced. They got nothing for Kevin Durant. They didn't even get Chris Paul. What the hell are you going to do with a 30-year-old Chris Paul on that Brooklyn Nets team? Mikal was the perfect guy to go get. I still think they probably should have got Aiden or someone else. But in the touch back what I said earlier, Mikal also doesn't miss games. So unlike Kawhi Leonard, he's a star that you can go see every night on the basketball court. In fact, he's not missed a game since high school. Like, he has not missed a single game since high school. Played every game of college. He's on pace to play 83 games this year in the regular season, and he doesn't like missing games. Like, he just plays through whatever he has. Mikal honestly looks like he might be the steal the whole trade deadline. We might be seeing a future star in our hands, and I'm just really looking forward to see how his game matures alongside this very young and athletic Brooklyn Nets team. And he's the centerpiece. Like, he's the star of this team now, and he's going to start playing like it. I think we're going to see more nights where he gets these big numbers and more 30-point nights from Mikal himself. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Mikal's game the other night, and if you guys think that he could be having a breakout year in Brooklyn, and what other trades in the trade deadline that really just kind of got glossed over because of the big move of Kevin Durant to Phoenix.